The morning it all started, the world had gone white, not the kind of white you see on postcards or in some Hallmark holiday, MOVIE, but the kind that swallows sound and makes you feel like you're the last levying soul on Earth. Snow blanketed everything in sight, and the sky was still coughing down more with a quiet fury. You couldn't even tell where the ground ended and the air began. And right there, in the middle of this silent tundra, our HOA president, Marlene Fitzpatrick, was about to make sure an old man died over a landscaping rock. Yeah, you heard me. Now, before I walk you through the moment I became a reluctant hero with a snowcat the size of a studio apartment, let me set the stage. I live in Pine Grove Glen, a gated community with freshly painted fences, driveways that must be pressure washed every third Thursday, and a board of neighbors who take more pride in bylaws than actual human lives. And reigning over it all like a suburban Napoleon was Marlene. 5'2", platinum helmet hair, eyes like laser pointers, and a clipboard that could slice concrete. Our trouble really began a year before that storm. That's when I bought the beast. See, after the blizzard of 23, when the power went out, the food ran low, and the only snowplow guy in town threw in the towel and moved to Arizona, I made myself a promise. Never again. I wasn't going to let my wife Lila or our neighbors freeze or starve just because the HOA prioritized potted tulips over actual survival. So, like any irrationally determined middle-aged man on eBay after 3 bourbons, I bought a used piss-and-bully Snowcat out of North Dakota. Delivered it right to my driveway on a flatbed, so rusted it should have come with a tetanus booster. Lila took one look and said, "Babe, is that legal?" I grinned like a teenager with a BB gun. Not in the slightest. The beast was a monster faded red paint, tracks like a tank, a cabin stripped bare and begging for custom mods. I spent months rebuilding her. My buddy Dave, who runs a mechanic shop out by Route 17, helped with the guts greasy, loud, German-engineered madness. Ricky, my wife's cousin, took over the aesthetics. Marine-stitched heated seats, LED bars so bright they could tan you, and yuck-up holders the size of thermoses. By the time winter rolled around again, I had the most overbuilt rescue vehicle this side of the Rockies. Of course, Marlene hated it. She showed up before the flatbed even left, wagging her clipboard like a sword. "Mr. Walker," she said, not even trying to hide her disgust, "this vehicle violates at least 4 clauses of the Pine Grove Glen Covenant, not to mention it's a blight on community cohesion." I smiled. It's a lawnmower. For stubborn lawns. She didn't buy it. From that moment on, she kept me on her radar like I was public enemy number 1. Warnings, letters, veiled threats about non-compliant outdoor storage. I even found a fine tape to the beast's windshield during Thanksgiving. But I didn't care. Because deep down, I knew the day would come when that snowcat would matter. And then it did. Fast forward to that morning's now, so thick you couldn't see past your mailbox. I'm sipping cocoa with Lila, watching flakes whip past the window, when there's a pounding at the door. I open it to find Noah, a scrawny 6th grader from down the street, looking like a terrified snowman. "Mr. Walker," he gasps. "It's Mr. Hollis. He's not breathing right. Mom called 911, but they said they can't get through. The roads are." "Say no more, kid," I told him. "Come in, get warm. I got this." Mr. Hollis was 81 years old. Former firefighter. He'd been part of this neighborhood longer than half the homes had existed. Cranky, generous, stubborn as a mule. And now he was suffocating in his levying room because the snowdrifts were waist deep and the rescue sled couldn't make it past the decorative rocks at the end of the cul-de-sac. No joke. The paramedics had made it halfway up with their ATV, but Marlene, bundled up like an REI mannequin, blocked them literally because they were damaging the non-designated decorative zone. Section 8, subsection D. She barked over the wind, holding her Ziploc-bagged clipboard like it was the Constitution. No unauthorized emergency vehicle congregation in landscaped spaces. Tom, one of the paramedics' big guy, arms like logs, was clearly losing patience. "Ma'am, he needs to get to the hospital or he might not make it. Did you submit a winter emergency access waiver form 7B? Lisa, the other paramedic, nearly screamed. "He's dying, and you're talking about SAW form SAW." I watched this all unfold from a distance, snow piling on my shoulders, jaw locked, heart hammering. And that's when I turned around and trudged back home without a word. Lila met me at the door, worry written all over her face. Mike? I didn't answer. I just said, it's beast time. 3 minutes later, I was suited up like a snow warrior, climbing into that beautiful, overbuilt, diesel-burning monster. Lila handed me a thermos and gave me a kiss. Be safe, she whispered. As the beast roared to life, its engine rumbled through the garage like thunder. The dashboard lights glowed. The heater kicked in. Outside, the wind howled, but inside, I felt like I could drive through the apocalypse. And I did. When I pulled into the cul-de-sac, the scene froze. Literally. Marlene stopped mid-sentence, clipboard still raised. The paramedics stared like I'd just landed a spaceship. The beast's LED lights cut through the whiteout like daylight. I parked right behind the stuck rescue sled, opened the door, and stepped down like it was my MOVYE moment. Need a lift? I asked, nodding toward the cab. Heated. Bucket seats. Doesn't care about decorative rocks. Tom blinked. Is that a Snowcat? Custom, I said with a smile. Let's go. Marlene shrieked. This is outrageous. This vehicle is unlicensed, unauthorized, unappealing. I turned to her, calm as fresh powder. Marlene, bylaws don't breathe. Mr. Hollis does. We got Hollis into the passenger seat barely conscious, but he managed a faint thumbs up. You always were a good man, Mike, he murmured. I patted his shoulder. Hang in there, sir. Just as I was about to fire up the beast again, a police SUV rolled into the cul-de-sac, chains clanking, tires growling. Out stepped Officer Jenkins, the one cop in town who actually remembered people's names. Marlene sprinted over, practically foaming at the mouth. Arrest him. Impound that saw thing saw. It's a menace. It's a violation of every. Jenkins held up a hand. Ma'am, let's hear it from the medics. Tom laid it out plain. We were blocked. The sled couldn't get through. Mr. Walker's vehicle saved this man's life. Jenkins looked at me, then at the beast, then back at Marlene. Ma'am, maybe now's not the time for landscaping debates. She made a sound like a balloon deflating, then turned and stomped off, snow flying with every furious step. We got Hollis to the main ambulance waiting at the highway. It was touch and go, but he pulled through. That night, the community found out. By morning, I was a folk hero. They shared photos on Facebook, me beast glowing like the sun, Marlene frozen mid-squawk. One caption read, saw Mike and the beast. 1. HOA tyranny. 0. Saw. At the next HOA meeting, Marlene tried to bring up sanctions. Before she could finish her sentence, Mr. Hollis stood up, cane in one hand, fire in his eyes. I nearly died, he said. And if Mike hadn't ignored your rules, I'd be 6 feet under. Maybe it's time we rethink what really matters around here. The applause was deafening. And just like that, Marlene lost her grip. She wasn't removed that night, but her reign was over. Her clipboard became a joke. Her bylaws, paper airplanes. The beast, a legend. These days, folks wave when I drive by. Kids ask to take selfies with the Snowcat. Ricky's already planning version 2 heated glove boxes, maybe an espresso bar. Lila just laughs and calls me Captain Avalanche. And Marlene? She crosses the street when she sees me. Her poodle too. But here's the thing, this was never about me. It was about what happens when people forget that rules are supposed to serve us, not the other way around. That communities are built on compassion, not control. So yeah, that's the story of how I broke the rules, saved a neighbor, and accidentally sparked a quiet revolution in Pine Grove Glen. I didn't plan it. I didn't want the spotlight. But I'll tell you one thing. It's good to be ready. Now you tell me, would saw you saw have done? Should I have obeyed the rules? Or trusted my gut? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear where you stand on it. And if you've ever had to deal with a Marlene of your own, don't worry, you're not alone. Sometimes, all it takes is one good neighbor and a little diesel.